Hello people, with this video we will see how to do a proper diffuser for a factor 2, which is a certainly complex task, but we are going to analyze every section so that we understand the contribution of every section to the totals, and hopefully that will help us to understand the whole picture. Okay, so let's see how is downforce created. Here it is. Mainly, we have a sum, diffuser leaf base, diffuser from leaf height, diffuser rake. And then we have some multipliers for stall and also for yaw. So that's the important thing. We have three sources for the diffuser downforce, which are independent one of the other. Okay, so let's start analyzing every section. This axis is rear right height, because diffuser allows us to set a different downforce depending on rear right height. We can start with diffuser base plus. First, we should set a limit for the calculation. We have downforce for the base. This is constant for every rear right height, and with the half order we also have more downforce, linear and exponential increase. So I recommend to use different signs for these parameters so that our shape is close to a real diffuser. For example, this could be a classic ground effect shape, depending on height. So let's do something similar. Okay, and to get rid of this, we can simply set the limit so that we avoid downforce to be negative. So we can actually use only these parameters to create a diffuser which is quite plausible However, there are more features which we can use. So let's see how they work. So now let's see how Diffuser from Hey Plus works. We should take this setting, which is front right height, and this is just increase by half order, first order, second order. For example, we will start with the first order so that our downforce increases linearly. It can go as high as we said, the front right height, but we can use the limit. For example, this, and our downforce will not increase after this height. You can see here increases, but once we reach this limit, there is no more changes. We're going to set it a little bit higher. Because now we can add second order with different sign, so that we achieve that the downforce changes when we reach a certain height. You can see if we start from 1 millimeter, we increase and downforce increases. However, there will be a point where downforce will decrease with right height. That's because the effect of this one will be stronger as we raise the front right height. And we can also add the half order in order to create a negative downforce in the beginning. We can call it stall if you want. So when front right height is very low, we can have negative downforce. But at a certain point, it will be positive. For that we need, or here, there we go. Here is positive, and now decreases again. If we want to avoid it goes to negative, we set a limit here, and it will be constant from that height. Now, how diffuser array works. Well, first we must set a limit for calculations. And then we have first order downforce, which depends on rake. So depending on this value, it will change. Sorry. The lower is front height, the higher will be rake, and that's the reason this downforce increases. If we rise front height, downforce decreases. And this is second order to provide with a shape. So we can really set an optimum rake for our car. When we have 25 millimeters at the front, the rear ride height should be around 13 centimeters, 13 or 14. Well, that's quite a big rake, possibly too much. So using this parameter, we can shift the whole curve. We can displace so that we obtain a different optimum rake. For example, with this configuration, front height is 50 millimeters, and we achieve the optimum downforce when rear is 80 millimeters. So it's important that this parameter is not optimum rake. Optimum rake depends on how we use these numbers. For example, now we can obtain a very high optimum rake. And this number only shifts the curve to the right or to the left. You shouldn't think that this number is the optimum rake. That's not working this way. Okay, let's put something reasonable. an optimum rake of around 4 centimeters, from 5 centimeters to 9 centimeters. Could be quite plausible. We should also limit this curve using this number, so that when rake reaches this value, downforce will be constant. Now we can add all sections together. So we can obtain the shape we wish. And with the help of our friend, we see how every part is contributing. This is Diffuser Base Plus. This is Diffuser Rake. And we can add some depending on front right height. This is the total. We can actually trace these graphs. To obtain the full picture. Finally, how to do diffuser stall. Normally there is some stall. So how to do diffuser stall? Well, it's not very difficult. With this number, we set a reference right height. For example, 1 centimeter. With this value, we set the multiplier for the stall. Here it is, the stall multiplier. So how is it working? It is a little bit complex to explain. It depends on average right height. So if we set 1 centimeter, if our front right height is bigger than this value, the stall doesn't change much. There will be not stall. And same for the rear height. If rear height is smaller than the reference, we will have stall. Let's increase resolution. So that's the trick. This sets the height reference. If front right height or rear right height goes below this height, we will have stall, and the amount of stall depends on these numbers. If you set this to 0, there will be not stall. If you set it to 1, there will be more stall, but always under this height, not over it. And I recommend set this number to 1, and if you set this to 0, you will obtain this stall. If you raise this number, you can remove stall completely. So I recommend an intermediate value, and that's all you need. We can use the limits to set different sections in the downforce plot. However, you should be very careful and check what is doing your diffuser when you increase from right height, and you should be careful when you set your limits for the calculations. So let's remember, this limits number is for stall calculation. This limit is for diffuser base calculation. And this number is for rake calculation. And also we have this limit for the front height calculation. Well, as you can see, many shapes are possible. You can play with the numbers so that you really can do very wild things. Once you have the shape you want, you can also set diffuser balance just by means of this number. The more negative, the more to the front. So we go more to the front and balance increases. You can see both contributions, front, diffuser rear, and see how they evolve depending on the center of forces. If we go very much to the rear, our balance decreases. That depends on their try points and also on total wheelbase. Well, you can also play a bit with the yaw. This is the optimum angle in degrees, 3 degrees, and this is the multiplier. So we set a 10%, probably not realistic, but we can see the effect here. So we look for this angle. Okay, we increase the angle. When we reach 3 degrees, downforce is maximum. After that, it will decrease. We can also trace the function to see how yaw is increasing our downforce. Well, we can also see how our diffuser is contributing to total lift. This is total lift which we create with other devices, front wing, rear wing, and body lift. And we can check how our diffuser is changing our total balance. For example, if we increase downforce, we should see how balance changes. However, this time it is very balanced. So let's do it a little bit more to the rear so that we see, there we see, this is total balance. So you can see how total balance is changing depending on diffuser downforce. Well, that's all for now. I hope you find this video useful and that I shed some light on this obscure subject. Let me know anything that you didn't understand, and I can try to comment and explain this further. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the video. So see you in the next. Bye.